Hey, what's up, y'all? Hope you guys are having a good one. So in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the PvP TWAB update today that we got. This TWAB had a lot of other information. If you're interested in that, then you can click on the link in the description, or there's probably, a million other YouTubers out there talking about that. But in this video, I'm just going to focus on the PvP stuff. And I've got to say, it's definitely another step in the right direction. Is it going to be enough? Probably not, but it's good to see them at least getting closer to a better Crucible. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So the best place to start is the sandbox here, and Bungie loves this graph so much. Like they always show this graph on every single PvP TWAB for the weapons. You've got expected weapon kills over here. So if it's 40%, for example, Reckless Oracle has 40% more kills than they would expect, and Fighting Lion and Alethanum are closer to less than 80% of expected kills. And these are blinting weapons, so you can kind of get it, but still, it's kind of ridiculous how poorly these weapons perform on this graph. Rose, Bygones, Elsie's, and Graviton are the ones that they focus on in this patch. And they say Bygones is, egregiously out of band, thanks almost entirely to the high ground perk, which is 100%. And they're going to be addressing that in this update, which is awesome. Thank God. I was worried that we would have to sit here for another 2 months for this whole season and just deal with Bygones high ground, but thankfully that's not the case. But they do say that most of these weapons are very close to the upper end of what we want primary weapons to be. We're more interested to bringing other options up to these rather than hammering these down back to here, which I'm not 100% sure I agree with. I think these are outliers and that they should have small nerfs in my opinion, but I guess we'll kind of see what they want to do here. And they also talk about the that why these guns are so high is they think that the ability uptime is a big factor in that, kind of making mid-range gunfights better. And I kind of see where they're coming from. I feel like Destiny's always been a mid-range gunplay kind of game. So I'm not sure if the ability spam is what's making these guns broken, or if it is just, the fact that Rose has all the best perks in the game on a hand cannon and crazy high stats. Elsie's has crazy high stats and the best perks for a pulse rifle. And Bygones, it's kind of just an outlier with high ground. I think that's kind of more of the issue rather than the ability spam, but the ability spam is definitely a factor. Now, on the ability spam front, Bungie talks about that prismatic subclasses are still a problem, which, yes, they are obviously still a problem. Glad that we're on the same page on that. And that it's kind of tough for balancing PvE and PvP with the power fantasy and the dominance in PvP. So instead of, kind of fixing the problem for real, they're kind of just putting a band-aid over it by having a blanket 15% additional ability cooldown penalty inside PvP. This is a good change, I think. Does it fix the problem of Prismatic? No. Does it fix Diamond Lances, which just should not be in the game? No. Does it fix, clone spam and smokes and, swarm nade? No. Does it fix Warlock slide melees? No. Right? Those are all still problems, but they're kind of just they're with this. I'm how I see it is they're saying we can't fix these things yet, so here's a little something to make the experience a little better, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's good that they recognize that. Hopefully, this will make ability spam a little less prevalent, but I'm not too optimistic, honestly. It's a good change, but we still need more in the future. And then Storm's Edge. This is probably the best piece of the whole article, honestly. I hate this super with a burning passion. Honestly, besides maybe Gwizzin Vest, Spectral Blades back when Forsaken launched, this might be the most broken super of all time. Maybe Behemoth when it launched. Yeah, maybe Behemoth as well. But this is up there. Like, this is a stupid super. I can't believe it took them this long to actually nerf it, but they're finally doing it. They're reducing the height of damage, which, cool, I guess. They're reducing the damage resistance, which is not really a lot, unfortunately. Um, Seems kind of insignificant with these numbers, but cool, I guess. And then this is the big one. They're moving it to the highest cooldown super, which is tier 1. So we're not going to see this super until like 4 rounds in trials, so someone's popping off, which is amazing. Which is absolutely amazing. This super, the amount of times I lose games to this super on 4 rounds, like I'll get my well, and then because well is a tier 4 super, this was a tier 3, so they'd get it, pretty soon after I plop my well. They just AFK, sit in the back for 30 seconds, wait for their super to pop up, and then pop it, win the round. It was terrible. So I am so glad to see this super get nuked. I hope I never see it again. For all you hunters abusing it, fuck you. I'm gonna win those trials games now. And yeah, I'm super happy with this. This might even be better than the high ground nerf for me. I hate this super so much, and I'm glad to see it go. Hopefully, I won't have to worry about it anymore. Another thing that I'm glad to see go is Knucklehead Radar. They have finally, I don't know why they launched this armor piece in the state it was. From 7 seconds of being marked, it's down to 3 now, which is a lot more reasonable. And then to activate the perk, you actually have to damage a player to mark the target, which, what a surprise. It's almost like how it should be. That's balance. We already have One-Eyed Mask, and they decided to just make a exotic for Hunter that was better than One-Eyed Mask. So glad this thing's getting nuked too. Hopefully it won't be as big of a problem, because this thing, the amount of information it gave was just stupid. In combination with the pulse rifle meta, this thing was a huge problem. So I'm glad we got to deal with that, and hopefully it won't be as much of a problem anymore. They also talk a little bit about bows. Precision bows are getting a body shot damage increase by 10%. I think that's fine. I think bows have, like they said, bows are one of the first large outliers that we had to tune down. They were definitely OP at one point. Now they're kind of shit. So it's good to see them, not just forgetting about them, and they're actually bringing them up. So I know some of you guys are bow players out there. Hopefully this helps out a little bit without pushing the needle too far. Hand cannons, this is where I'm a little worried. 120 hand cannons are now going to be able to kill all resilience levels at 2 crit 1 body. And I've thought about this a little bit. I've talked about this a little bit, with some of my friends. I think this is a bad change. I think 120 hand cannons are already super strong. They've never really left the meta. Most people are using 340s now. And you could argue, and that's what Bungie argues here, that high impact pulses are better at the optimal range of these hand cannons, so that they're buffing them up a little bit to compete with the pulse rifles. I don't know, man. I'm worried that the 120 playstyle, when we had a 120 hand cannon meta, the meta just became super crazy team shotting and, just hiding in the back with hand cannons, jiggle peek. I'd rather see people running around with 140 hand cannons. I think those are way more high skill, even though Rose is busted. I just don't like this change at all. They are reducing Igneous's stats by 3, which, okay, that's not going to do shit, but whatever. I guess it's slightly less broken, I guess. Cool. And they're adding it to Better Devils, which is still going to be shit, because why would you use a Better Devils when Rose exists? This change is the one I disagree with the most. I personally don't like this. I think resil gating is healthy for the game. I think it makes it so you can't just have the best stats for everything. You can't just go all in on ability spam. If you want to have high resil, then you have to, change your aspects and your fragments around. I don't like this change at all, but maybe I'm wrong. I've talked to some of my friends and they like this change. So, I'm curious what your opinion is. What do you think about this 120 hand cannon change? I personally don't like it, but I can see the argument on why they should get a slight buff, because of how prevalent 340 pulses are in their range. And then they talk a little bit about yesterday's question with Headseeker. This gun sucks, so don't worry about it. Machine guns are getting a slight ammo nerf. You can see here, these are the adjustments. If you want, you can pause the video. I don't think this is going to sway the machine gun prevalence as much as you think. Maybe not even at all, honestly. Like having just 2 to 3 less shots doesn't matter. I still have a 4 times the charm killing tally rolled that they just gave everyone for free who did the quest during the Brave update. I think that was their big problem. It's not that LMGs are broken, but they gave everyone the god roll for free. So now everyone is abusing it, and it's much more of a problem. So that's more the problem. This is kind of just another band-aid. That's not really going to change much, unfortunately. And finally, we're getting onto high ground. This was obviously a huge problem. Thankfully, they're nerfing it here. So you only get the 1 stack now whenever you damage someone with a primary weapon. And then if you have a special, it still does, the same thing, which I think is good. This gun was, or, Bygones especially, was stupid. I remember that Cirrus Plaza week when everyone would just go up to the upper area where the inside zone spawned, every single round there would be a guy up there with a 390 bygones with high ground just two bursting people, and it sucked. So glad that they changed that. Hopefully they don't. I just, it's one of those perks that just never should have been this broken in the first place, and thankfully it didn't last as long as some people were expecting. Thankfully, I don't have to go play Gambit anymore. There's no point to get a bygones anymore, which is nice. I don't have to suffer in Gambit. But it is fixed, and this is a really good update. So good job, Bungie. Proud of you. They talk a little bit about explosive payload. Nothing really crazy here. I'm kind of just going to skim over it. If you want to read it, go for it. And then the rest of this article is kind of just about lobby balancing. You can see they have a lot of stats, a lot of numbers about, mercy rules and, changing, the chance of one team having more than a 90% chance of winning has decreased from 5.5% to 2%. It's a lot of kind of, I don't want to say insignificant changes because it's not. Bungie, I think matchmaking as a whole is something that you have to tune, and that's definitely what Bungie is doing, and I'm glad they're doing it. If you want to read all this stuff, go for it. I don't really think it's worth your time to read it. It's kind of like, they're just doing stuff in the background. You're going to read all this and look into it, and then it'll be different in a week because they're still tuning stuff. The one thing I'll say is I think trials should always be random. And I know they didn't talk about trials in here. This is all for control, but I'm a little worried that they're saying, for now, this will be the system we move with for 6v6 and quick play. We are ready to experiment with turning it on again in competitive. I'm a little worried that, okay, we're doing it in quick play, and then we're going to do it in comp, and then, we're going to try it in trials. I don't want to see this in trials. Trials should always be random, and I know people aren't going to like that completely. I know some people don't like it, but I think random is the most fair, because especially for a player like me, I'm just imagining the solo queue experience where if you're a solid player and you're just trying to solo queue, and especially when you're matching against two stacks, they're going to put the shit two stack on your team all the time because they want fair games. Trials shouldn't be fair games. It should be who is the better team and is, the least randomness as possible. And even in comp, I think it's stupid. I think it's ridiculous that I can go in as a solo in comp and have to carry people because they want, the only stat they apparently care about is how close the games are and more, competitive lobbies. I think, that's what your skill lobby should be doing. It should be your skill bracket system. So for in comp, if you're playing in ascendant lobbies, all of those players are good enough to be an ascendant. And while they are an ascendant, then whenever you load into a game, it's random who's on the other team. It doesn't make sense to me to add stuff in comp. And I'm a little worried, especially if they add this into trials. This is a lot of speculation right now. I'm just want to get that point out there, and I'm curious what other people think. I think matchmaking should be random. I kind of get why they're doing it in control. I kind of like control, actually. I'm not gonna lie, it's been pretty fun just to play and run around, and the games have been a lot more competitive. They go down to the wire. Close games are always fun in control, but I don't think it should work in comp and trials like that. So yeah, I just want, sorry for ranting about that, but I just want to bring that up. The main point of this video was to talk about the high ground nerf, which amazing, good job Bungie. The hand cannon buff, which I'm a little worried about, but curious to hear your opinions, and the Prismatic Storm's Edge and Knucklehead nerfs, which are amazing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to take any more of your time. Let me know what you think down below. Do you like these changes? Do you think some of them are bad? Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree? Let me know. These are just my opinions. I'm not saying these things as gospel. These are just my first impressions, and some of you guys might think differently than me, and that's totally fine. I want to hear what you have to think. So thank you for watching, and if you watched this whole video and you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.